Hello and welcome to Artful Awakening. So today I have a small exercise that you can all try at home, and it's very simple. So I have a few objects here. I have a few setups here with a bit of pencils, a bit of objects on my side. I will show them all to you one by one. So I also have some few blank sheets of paper here. Like, I would always suggest that you would go for something simple and don't overcomplicate, because when you want to start drawing, one often tries to think a lot and it ends up becoming very overwhelming. Where to start? What can I draw? So today I will share a few tips that you can use for your drawing exercises, and at least it will get you started. So first, let's talk about paper. So how do I know which paper to choose? So there are a lot of papers that you can find in the market. Now, keep it simple is what I would suggest. Although I have a very nice sheet of paper here. I have a 300 GSM sheet of paper, which means the paper is very thick. So I will just explain very quickly what that means. So when you go to the market, you must have seen all these different kinds of sketchbooks, or that's something that you must have used in your childhood, or otherwise in general day to day, or your children are using, whatever. You must have seen these books in the stationery store. So when you look at the GSM over here for sketchbooks, they will say 130 GSM, or they may even start from 120. So that kind of paper is ideal to use for pencil shading or pastel charcoals. So any kind of dry colors you can use on these sheets. And that is because if you use any kind of watercolors on a lower GSM paper, the paper will basically disintegrate. So for that, you will have to use something thicker. So as you can hear the paper, thickness of the paper here. Now that we have chosen the ideal sheet of paper, the next question that comes to mind is, now what do I draw? What kind of images can we draw? So it's very simple. I will suggest just go around your house or wherever you stay and look for objects that you like or that you use. So you can go from anything, like I have this plant. I have this pot of plant that a friend had gifted me. So it's very dear to me and I really like this foliage. So I have this as an object here. You can have a pen stand here, and then probably something even small as a nail polish bottle, or a small table fan here, or anything from a water bottle. There can be any n number of objects that you use. The reason why I'm telling you to choose an object is because it is much closer to you. You have felt it, you have touched it, you know the texture of the object, you know how it looks like in three-dimensional space. So you would have a better idea of the object itself. So there will be a kind of emotion attached to the object because you have lived with it or you have used it. So that is the reason why I am suggesting to go for an object. Now there is a little bit difference in what I am suggesting here, because it's not exactly still art. So do not confuse that with what I am trying to suggest here, because when you are looking at still art, it is more poised and it's more graceful. There's a whole setup that is put up in a way. So I would suggest not to go for all those complications. Keep it simple. Just pick up objects that you personally like. Now, I have mentioned this in one of my previous videos. Before we start any drawing, I would personally suggest to go for this small warm-up exercise, is what I call. This is just so that you get your hand, eye, mind coordinated, and you take away all those inhibitions of how your work is going to look like. So once this is done, we will go ahead and take a fresh page. Now, before we start into our exercise, I wanted to mention this particular thing, is that the reason why I suggested that you go for some kind of object instead of a reference image from the internet is because these objects are very personal to you. You have known it for a while, or you have seen how it looks like. So rather than going straight to Google and searching for some random images that you have never seen in your real life, or you are picking up images of some person, or even not a professional, you're picking up images not from a professional space basically. So please avoid using Google as a reference for your drawing. Rather, pick up something that is lying around your own home and objects that you like. So with this, let's start with our exercise. Now, another thing before we start is that please do not use any eraser. Just go for a pencil or a pen, whatever you feel comfortable using. And why I suggest that you don't use any eraser is because, once again, we get so caught up in trying to replicate what the object looks like that we forget that we are just doing this to take away our inhibitions about drawing something. No eraser, no scales, just go freehand, make as many mistakes as you want. Even I'm going to be making mistakes over here, so don't worry about it. Just go ahead with your drawing, feel free, and make mistakes. It doesn't matter how the final output is going to look like. We are not here to create some epic images like any of those master painters have done in the past. We are just here to do something for ourselves and hopefully create this space where you connect with your object, your drawing, your mind, your soul. So just basically feeding your soul is what I would say. As you can see, I have chosen a black pen instead of a pencil. The reason being the same as I had mentioned earlier, that is to avoid using eraser. Even I'm prone to correcting my mistakes if I use a pencil, so therefore I'm using this black pen. Keep the process simple. Just draw what you see. Don't worry about the angles, don't worry about the shapes, don't worry about the size. Just let your hand and fingers be guided by your eyes and your mind. What we are trying to learn through this exercise is to sharpen our power of observation, which is the key to creating a drawing that you are proud of. And I'm doing the same here. I'm observing carefully, leaf by leaf, following the basic shape of the stem, but I'm not trying to create a carbon copy. So it's obvious here, as you can see, where I'm making mistakes. I'm just overlining the same space because I have eliminated the use of eraser. Another aspect to remember is to avoid making short lines. So do not lift your pen or pencil too much off the paper. Try to create continuous lines. So don't worry about the lines being wobbly. Don't worry about them not creating a perfectly straight lines or circles or any other shape that you're trying to draw. Remember, it's okay to make mistakes. Since I have chosen a small piece of stem with tiny leaves, I'm having to lift it closer towards me so that I can have a proper look at it. And from time to time, I have stopped to observe the shapes of the leaves more carefully. And as you can notice, it having shriveled, dried leaves, and they are further apart towards the top, but towards the bottom, they are more fuller and greener. So once I have the basic outline of the stem and the leaves, I will start to fill it with colors. Although the stem and leaves contain shades of purple and green, I have a personal liking towards shades of blue. And since this is my drawing, I have all the creative freedom to do whatever I like with it. Therefore, you should start with lighter shades of whatever color that you plan to use and build the layers going darker. Simply remember, with pencil colors, you go lighter to darker. This is because if you start with darker colors, the light colors will not layer on top of it, and so it will not be visible, making your drawing look flat. So to add dimension and character to your drawing using pencil colors, remember to layer light to dark. And if there are colors of white that you need to use, simply leave those areas blank rather than using white pencil. That's a personal suggestion of mine. There are many different brands of pencil colors you can find in the market, and the quality of the pencils do differ. So, if you want higher pigmentation, best is to go for artist colors. These tend to have higher pigmentation as compared to products meant for younger children and students. So, just a reminder, artist colors are also slightly more expensive, but the quality is superior. So if you are confused and don't know what to buy, simply go for Stedler brand. It's a German brand of stationery products. It's easily available in the market. The pigmentation is good at an affordable price. I have sped up my process here in the video, but from time to time, remember to take a break to observe your object carefully, where the light hits, where it is darker. But remember, do not get intimidated with the details and do not get caught up in trying to perfect it. Don't forget, it's your drawing, you are the master, and so you have the creative freedom to do with it as you please. So trust the process, trust your hands, trust your eyes and mind. Give your soul a chance to express itself. Here I'm using a mix of Stedler and Camlin, mainly because I'm using only shades of blue, and I realized that using two different brands give me a greater range of blue shades. Once I feel satisfied with the coloring process, I go over the drawing with black pen once again to give it more definition. Few tips to accentuate the quality of your drawing. Try to keep your line continuous as much as possible, even if they're wobbly. Start over again and again if you're not happy, but avoid using eraser. This will make your hands and fingers more accustomed to this new process and bring confidence in your image making process. A common practice I have seen in amateur drawing, which even I used to do in the past, was using this type of broken lines to put together an image. This technique does not yield clean aesthetics, so avoid drawing such lines. Once again, do this and not this. So that is all for today. Hope you enjoyed this video and it has inspired you to start drawing all those images you have in your mind but didn't know how to begin. Remember that visual art is a practice on its own. So if your first few drawings did not come out looking like how you had in your mind, don't worry about it. It takes time and patience, so don't give up. Keep on drawing, keep making mistakes, don't worry about judgment. Just like children don't care how their drawings look like. They are not worried about proportion, shape, colors. They are fearless. So be like a child when it comes to drawing and enjoy the process. Thank you. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Artful Awakening.